They say you never really know a company until you see it fall apart from the inside. Well, let me tell you about the day Skywing Airlines nearly destroyed itself in one afternoon, all because nobody bothered to look past a woman's skin and a seat number. I was there, in the boardroom, as the security footage rolled, every executive glued to the screen while our own CEO was being marched off a flight in cuffs. Stock down 30% in minutes. Chaos, fear, and the brutal sound of reality setting in. Let me back up a sec because this story, it didn't start with lawyers or police. It started with a black woman in a simple black sweater, boarding pass in hand, choosing seat 23B in coach. No designer handbag, no hint of her real power, just Isabella Rodriguez Washington, moving quiet, unnoticed, among the hundreds she paid to fly each day. To you, maybe just another face in the crowd, but this woman built Skywing from nothing. Detroit girl, daughter of a janitor and a Ford worker, college on scholarships and overtime. She learned early that if you want to lead, you walk the factory floor, you ride in the cheap seats, you look at your company through the eyes of the invisible. That's why she did it. Incognito flights every quarter, auditing customer service, hunting for cracks in the armor. No fancy ticket, just her maiden name on the manifest, and a battered laptop full of numbers only she could make sense of. And, the day she picked Flight 447 was no accident. Complaints on that route had shot up, whispers of inconsistent treatment. Her assistant, Maria, booked it special. The gate agent barely glanced at her. Next. That's how the dance always started. It didn't take long to see it. Smiles and upgrades for the white couple ahead, a nod for the business travelers, but for Isabella, bare minimum, move along. She noted it, like she always did, then watched as the rest of the cabin filled in. First class got handshakes. Coach got indifference. And then, as she worked on her spreadsheet's real company secrets, mind you, profit reports, sensitive, stuffed, gentle voice beside her. Mrs. Eleanor Hartley, kind eyes, maybe 70 years old. They talked about travel, about how some crews changed their whole attitude based on appearances. Isabella smiled. She'd heard it all before. You ever notice how these stories always break wide open over something small? Turbulence hit over Indiana, sending laptops and meals flying. Isabella's computer hit the deck, screen spiderwebbed but still working. She made a call quiet, business Lakido, her CFO, about fuel hedging and Q3 numbers. No big deal. Except it was enough to catch the ear of Monica Stevens, senior flight attendant with 15 years of attention to detail and a resume full of complaint from passengers who didn't look like her. Monica, she didn't see a CEO. She saw a young black woman in coach, talking like she owned the place. Her brain put two and two together and got conspiracy. She marched right to the cockpit, told Captain Walsh there was suspicious activity, somebody talking company business, maybe stealing secrets. You know what I mean? Security theater at 30,000 feet. When Monica came back, she went full cop. Ma'am, I need your ID. Routine security check. Isabella played it cool, handed over her license, tried not to let the anger show. But Monica kept pressing. Who do you work for? Why are you talking about our operations? It escalated fast. The captain got involved, more questions, now the air marshal's coming down the aisle. Isabella had a choice. Blow her cover and end the audit, or ride this train as far as it would go. She kept her cool, but the crew pushed harder, treating her like a criminal for the crime of knowing too much. Phones came out, passengers recording. Mrs. Hartley tried to step in. She's done nothing wrong, but was brushed aside. Return to your seat, ma'am. And then the real twist. Marcus Johnson, young attorney 2 rows up, stood and called it what it was. Racial profiling, pure and simple. But paranoia was the flavor of the day. To Monica and Captain Walsh, now Isabella was part of a conspiracy, black professionals working together. Unthinkable. They tore through her documents, spreadsheets with the company's own logo. How did you get this? Monica demanded. Isabella's answer, I'm authorized, just fueled the fire. Burton, the air marshal, made the call. You're under aircraft detention pending investigation. That was that. The plane landed early in Nashville, surrounded by police and flashing lights. Isabella, in handcuffs, escorted off like a trophy. Passengers filmed it all, posted every minute, and the hashtag started trending before she even reached the terminal. The boardroom, hours later, was a war zone, executives panicking, stock collapsing, legal teams assembling. Now, here's the kicker nobody saw coming. Detective Sarah Martinez, Nashville PD, gets the case. She's sharp, asks questions. The crew's story? Full of holes. Passenger witnesses tell a different tale. Isabella was professional, quiet, never threatening. Martinez smells something rotten. She digs, runs Isabella's ID, checks the laptop. Nothing matches the corporate spy narrative. Meanwhile, Isabella's attorney David Chun finally reaches her. She explains everything. They arrested the CEO of Skywing Airlines for carrying her own company's documents. By now, the news is out. Social media explodes. Civil rights leaders, politicians, celebrities, they all weigh in. How does this happen in 2024? The board scrambles to figure out who really booked that ticket. Security Director Wright checks the manifest, sees the name Isabella Rodriguez Washington, booked by her executive assistant. Reality sets in. They arrested their boss. Isabella's true identity hits the media like a bomb. The fallout? Immediate and brutal. Captain Walsh and Monica are suspended, facing federal charges. Investors dump the stock, lawsuits stack up. Congressional hearings are called, the FAA launches investigations, and Isabella herself stands in front of the company's 6 months Laturdo, lay it out. I boarded that flight as your CEO. I deplaned in cuffs as a victim of the very discrimination we were supposed to fight. Her voice didn't shake. Monica and Walsh are gone, their careers over. Isabella lays out a new future. Mandatory training, zero tolerance, diversity from ground crew to boardroom. Marcus Johnson joins as head of compliance, Mrs. Hartley helps launch a new passenger advisory board, and Skywing's policies become the gold standard for the entire industry. And you know what? The world noticed. Airline after airline follows suit, not out of kindness, but because justice turns out to be good business. 6 months later, Isabella flies the same route coach seat, same old sweater, and gets treated with dignity. The system works at last. Skywing stock rebounds, passengers return, and discrimination, well, it never disappears entirely, but it's got nowhere left to hide. So let me ask you, after all that, do you think corporate culture can ever truly change? Or will companies always need an Isabella willing to risk everything just to hold up a mirror? Drop your thoughts below. Feel like if you think justice in business matters. Subscribe for more stories that don't just and they change the game. Because sometimes the most powerful revolution starts in seat 23B with someone who refuses to look away.